So let's start with pull-offs. So quick reminder, pull-off is called pull-off because that's what you're supposed to do. You're literally pulling off from the string and plucking the note you're pulling off to. So demonstrate the first exercise, 4 times each bar, changing finger on each repeat of the entire exercise. So here we go. So always pulling down towards your palm like that. No flicking the other direction. Always pulling down towards your hand. Alright, so the next exercise, using your first and second finger, and keep your index finger down the entire time you're on a string. In other words, when you're on the E string, your index finger will stay on the E string the entire time. The only time you move or take your index finger off of the fret you're on is to go to the next string. Only time. That goes for all 3 of these exercises here. So this is what we got. Okay, here we go. First and third finger. Whoops, that was a bad hammer on. And the last one, using your first and fourth fingers. Okay. I guess that's really it for the pull-offs we have so far. One suggestion, well, not suggestion, in regards to the pedals that you have. I don't know if you got the last email I sent. Oh look, there's something in my inbox right now. Maybe that was you. Nope, that is not you. Okay, never mind. Anyway, the photos that you did send, matter of fact, why aren't your pictures showing up here? I know I looked at them. Boy, the end of this video is really interesting, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so yeah, you sent, I got the 3 photos you sent, the metalcore, your Marshall, and then the Boss pedal. If you wanted to use the other pedals to help create that sound, you know, I'd need to see photos of that too. But if you would just wanted to use the overdrive pedal and the metalcore pedal, and you know, I talked to a friend of mine who's an audio engineer, and he said overdrive and distortion is essentially the same thing. But usually when people refer to overdrive, they're talking about a very soft distortion, and then when they say distortion, a much harsher. And there's actually a rectangular sound to it if you look at a wave file with heavy distortion. But it was kind of like what we talked about last night. Overdrive usually refers to very light distortion, whereas distortion refers to very heavy, very fuzzy. What I would do if you're going to use both pedals, I would run it through the overdrive pedal first. I would try and use the color knob full left to start with, and then put the level in the middle. Let's start with the level in the middle, tone in the middle. Your drive, I would put that at minimum at first, and then you play some chords, play some lead, and just and then like turn it up a quarter of the way, and then play it again. So, and then you want to stop at a point where it starts to sound pleasing to your ear. So you probably don't want to have the drive all the way up, because that could be too much. And then once you get the drive to sound where you want it, so you'll want to mess with I would mess with the tone next. Mine is set 3/4 of the way up, so it's fairly bright. So how your guitar pickups are will determine some sound changes there. Also the type of strings you're using. But I like a fairly bright tone, so I have mine 3/4 of the way up. My drive on the pedal, what do I have it at? So I have it at middle. So I have it in the middle for the drive. And then the level I have in the middle. Why do I want to say I had that at max on something? Let me see real quick. I had all kinds of stuff written down here for my own sound. Why do I think that is wrong? I might have to get back to you on this, because my papers are like all over the place. Crap. I'm running out of time to finish this video. Well, either way, you might not like your drive all the way max, but if you can do that anyway. So basically, anyway, you'll set up the sound you want with the overdrive pedal first, and then if you really want to, you can run it into that distortion pedal, the metal core. But again, you're already going to have some overdrive happening with that pedal, so I would put your distortion on minimum first, level in the middle, and your lows and highs, put those also in the middle. And then start playing, and then start to increase the distortion until it starts to distort a little bit. And this way, because you don't want to have them cranked up, because then it just sounds like garbage. You have to use distortion or overdrive or also gain subtly. You don't want to crank it up too much. And then once you run those two into your amp, looking at it, definitely use the classic gain, because if you're using two different overdrive pedals, you don't want to put it on the high gain channel. That'll sound gross. I don't know what your tone shift does, so you'll have to turn it on and off and see how that sounds. A lot of metal guitar sounds will scoop the mids to sound extra metally, but that's a bad idea. You lose crunch. So you might want to turn your mids all the way up. Try your treble maybe 3/4 of the way up. In your bass, you could probably keep that in the middle. I'm assuming that button that says deep is to bring out really low frequencies, so you could try that and see what it sounds like. But yeah, send me the photos of the other things that you have too, and I can talk about that. But without being there with your setup, it's definitely more of a challenge to talk about what it is that has to happen, because there's so many different factors involved. Like you said, engineering, sound engineering. Alright, I'm going to wrap this video up. I got to get to a student here, so let me know if you got questions. I will see you on Sunday.